everybody. It's Blair with the Badass Records podcast, welcoming you in for another episode, and I am pleased to share with you that this week's guest is Brian Hurtgen. You can follow Brian on Instagram at waxmusic79. He is a member of Major Matt USA, the Creepy Jingles, Holiday at Sea, and Buy American, BYE American. There is stuff from each of those outfits on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, and iHeartRadio, as well as some solo stuff of Brian's on all of those platforms as well. And plus Black Cat Vinyl, a pop-up record store around KC. The Instagram handle for it is at Black Cat Vinyl KC. Be sure to check out all that they have to offer and when their events are happening. Episodes of this podcast air Thursdays. More often than not, you can stream on your platform of choice, view it on YouTube. Everything lives on the web, which is the website is badassrecordspodcast.com, and the Instagram handle for it is at badassrecordspodcast. Shouts out to my guy Robert Sterling for his support of the show and the 3 seconds it took him to share the 100 emoji to the group thread. Much love to you, Robert. Hope you are doing well. That's all I got for you this week. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show. I think we're going to be doing episode 212,
Cool.
Badass Records podcast. Brian Hurtgen, welcome. Thank you for being here. At waxmusic79 on Instagram, drummer for Major Matt USA and the Creepy Jingles.
Yeah.
Vocalist, guitarist for Holiday at Sea, guitar for Buy America. You've got stuff on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, iHeart Records. I think I remember correctly, you discovered the program via Dane Bridges' recent episode 209.
Indeed.
Bandmate of yours in Major Matt and Holiday at Sea. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to that conversation, but I'm curious if there's anything you wanted to share about those two outfits that we maybe didn't touch on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great episode, by the way, and I love the format, and I love what you're doing. It's a lot of fun. Currently trying to listen to the end of the episode 210 right now. So
Flair the Rebel.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear like all the things he's trying to do in the community. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Like very cool.
Yeah. Like I'm kind of like, thanks for doing so much because I'm doing.
right.
Not to be weird. I just whatever.
Yeah. I think like Holiday at Sea is kind of very intermittent. It's kind of my baby, I guess. Like started in St. Louis before I moved here. I moved in 2013 for a job at Ford Motor Company. Woohoo.
Found on road dead or fix or repair daily.
Right.
Jokes.
Yeah. Tried to keep it going. It was a 3-piece at that time. Still based in St. Louis. And when I first moved here, I tried to keep it going, booking things when I could and driving back and forth. And then just got to be unsustainable, obviously. So kind of put it to bed for a while. And then COVID came, and like the way I write, as far as when it's me, the main engine of writing, it kind of like I'm not disciplined, I guess you would say. Like it almost has to like hit me, like, and so there was just a wave of songs that came to me at that time, and I just started recording. And I reached out to the other guys. I was like, hey, since this is sort of already an established name, are you cool if I continue using it? Like, and then one of the guys, I was even like, hey, I know you have the capability to, like, you've got the software to record. Would you even want to join me, lay down some bass tracks? Because I can play drums, I can play guitar. I can get by on bass, but I'm not a bassist.
Okay.
So Yeah, and so he did that, and then I found some guys that were just friends of mine that, hey, let's try to put together a show, and so the thing with that is, as you can, when you talk to Dane and when you introduce me, like a lot of us are in multiple multiple projects, so
Yeah.
it's really hard to do something consistently with it, and I'm fine with that, honestly. I've come to terms with that we maybe do a show a year, if that.
Okay.
But I look forward to it when we do.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really all that matters. I mean, people are always, not always, often, on the side, like, you should do this for the pot. And it's like, I can't really give it any more than I already am. And most of the time when folks rap, they have shared that they've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's like, good, because so did I. And I don't know that I am asking for more out of it.
Yeah.
So if you are, regardless of your gig frequency, if you look forward to it, then what else do you need?
Right. Yeah. That's, I like that attitude. Major Matt Mason. So, let's see. It's kind of a, like I was saying, it's a big twisted web of how I came into different things. So, through playing around with a band I was playing guitar in at the time called Farewell Transmissions, that no longer exists. I played a show with Small Waves, and at that time, Logan Park, who is now in From Me. So I'm picturing people out there listening, like with their string tying everything together,
Right.
like
It's
like It's Always Sunny.
a detective's
there you go.
bulletin board of photos and maps and picture. Yeah.
Kind of hit it off with Logan Park just from shows we played together, who then eventually he leaves Small Waves. He comes in to be the bassist for Farewell Transmissions, and then he's like, hey, I'm also playing drums for Major Matt Mason USA, but I don't really feel like the most confident as a drummer. I would like to move over to bass, and we make it into a 3-piece. Would you want to come and sit in and maybe think about playing drums for Major Matt Mason? And I was like, yeah, sure. We I will say, like, it was probably the most transformative as a drummer for me to be in this project, Major Matt Mason USA. He's such I'll say the word visionary, and maybe that's I don't know, too pretentious. Maybe, I don't know, but he knows exactly what he wants with his music, and he has it like all mapped out in his head. And so I came in like, and we'll talk about this band later, but like my favorite drummer is Jimmy Chamberlain, and at the time, from the Smashing Pumpkins, and at the time,
I hear that name and the Silverfuck.
Yeah.
And me, I'm like, fucking, all right.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Automatically.
Right.
And I know he's much broader than just that, but like,
right.
Shops for days.
Yes. Yeah. And I cut my teeth like on kit in high school in a jazz band, so I learned a little bit about like improvisation and things like that. I don't necessarily call myself a jazz drummer, though there are elements that will come out in what I do. But I'm not that technically proficient, I don't feel. But all that to say, like I came in as this drummer who was really like trying to throw in my little, things, my flourishes here and there.
Yeah.
And Matt was just like, no, it's not what I'm looking for. Like, no. And like in the most generous way possible.
Sure.
Right. And it got really frustrating at the time. And like we'd be like in the middle of a rehearsal, and I would just be kind of like, head in hand, like, okay, like I don't know what it is that you want, or why you even are choosing me, because like I don't get it. But through the whole time of working with him, like I began to learn that there's a specific language that he wants to speak. And once I learned how to speak that language, then there was the freedom to, like, now when we write, like, he barely gives any notes unless there's like a specific, like, here's what I want you to accent, like, at this part or whatever, but everything else is like free range.
Cool.
But yeah, it was really cool to learn that. I grew so much as a musician, honestly, and I'm so thankful to Matt and that project. Yeah, and so it would just, I now go back because the way we do it now is like simplified to its most simple element, and then as the song grows, as we rehearse it, then you can add certain things where it's appropriate, and or not, depending on what the song calls for. And it's just been so cool to understand that more. Like, and when I go back now and I listen to Jimmy Chamberlain with the Pumpkins, I'm like, oh, because he's not just wailing on every song. There are songs that it's like you might as well have put a drum machine on, because he's just so in the pocket, not deviating it, like. And now I'm like, oh, I get it. It depends on each song, you know. I used to even, think that I was better than that, whatever that means, like I had a couple other friends that were great drummers, but I was like, dude, you're overplaying. And not like never really looking at myself and being like, oh, shit, that's me too.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, so
there's certainly value in somebody that knows what they want and can say that's it or that's not it. And then, you with your head in hand, staying with that feeling of uncomfortable to get to the spot, super valuable, because some folks might just be like, I'm out of here.
I thought about it, and I'd tell them, I was like, Matt, I'm not mad at you. Like, I just don't know, like, what do you want? But then, like I said, it's just a process of maybe a full year almost before it felt like, oh, I get it now. Like,
cool.
And it's just been great ever since.
So back on Holiday at Sea, when you said, I'm not very organized, or whatever, however you phrased it, and then writing comes to me.
Yeah.
Like in a wave of songs. Are those riffs? Are those lyrics? Is it both? Is it all over the place?
Good question. Yeah, sometimes it'll be like the structure on a guitar. I'm just, I'll start playing like a song that's not mine, and then something comes to me, and oh, hey, that was kind of a cool riff, and then where does that go? And then next thing I know, I have pretty much like a chord structure or whatever. And sometimes in that moment, I'll get words as well. And then sometimes I don't, and I'll just set that aside, or maybe like record it on my phone, come back to it later. The most special ones, though, are the ones that all, boom, happen at once. It's almost like it existed before, and you just stumble upon it is a weird way.
Yeah.
But that's what it feels like. It feels like that it was always already there. You just kind of were let in on the secret.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
Yeah.
So, this is silly, but if you had to pick your number one instrument for you, is it guitar? And the reason I ask is because in the notion of discipline, there's a couple camps as a whether you're a young person just starting out or somebody that just, at whatever point in life and gets involved with music. I feel like there's the camp of, okay, I've got to sit down with my guitar for 90 minutes or 2 hours no matter what, I got to make it happen. And then there's the other kind of folk that, like, they don't need that because they want that guitar in their hands, and it's like the first thing they do when they come home and take their shoes off or have a minute to unwind or whatever. when you have the guitar, are you like, is it a 6-string electric? Do you have a collection, or is there this guitar fits this mood, or it's always this one that I noodle? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. I'm fond of a Fender Telecaster. In fact,
Okay.
I named my daughter Telly.
Nice.
Yeah, she doesn't like that I tell her tell other people that's where her name comes from. She swears up and down that it's not, and I'm like, oh, I think I would know. I'm the one that gave you the name. Yeah. But yeah, she's 19 now. She's great.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I will say that I was hugely impressed with the inclusion of father in your IG bio.
Thanks.
Because like not everybody. I've had folks before they come. They're like, no family. We're not. I don't want to go in this direction of personal.
Yeah.
And okay, everybody, but like, whatever weight or value you want to assign to Major Matt USA and Holiday at Sea and Buy American and Creepy Jingles, like nothing, the hat that you wear as a father is.
It's the best. It's like nothing will ever touch that. Like
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I can see plenty of people, but just would never even occur to them to put it there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty dope. So.
Oh, thanks.
But Telly.
Yeah. So I fought her mother. We're no longer together. But I fought for the actual TELE abbreviation of a Telecaster, and she's like, "I'll let you have the name, but I'm getting the spelling." So it's spelled TELLY.
Sure.
So
okay.
Kind of like Kelly, but with a T.
Yeah. You ever listen to Zappa?
Very little,
Okay.
honestly.
Joe's Garage is a three-act double album from '79, and it tells this long story of how music ruined this young man's life. He starts out with a garage band, and mom, turn it down, and all this shit happens. But at one point, they're like, they've got a bus and they've got groupies, and there's a wet T-shirt contest that happens, and I forget the exact line, but there's a lot of sexual innuendo, in, like the wet T-shirt skit, and at one point he goes, "It looks like a Telefunken U-47." It comes up like several times.
Yeah.
I eventually one day Googled it, and I guess it's a mic.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly, but it's just hilarious every time I hear them say that.
I hear that a lot of people talk about the drum production on that record. And I have never sat down and fully listened to it, and I probably should. But a lot of people, especially like the hi-hat on that record, everybody says is
really
like sublime. Yeah.
Huh. I mean, the musicianship that he surrounded himself with was always world class, and allegedly he was, kind of a dick to work with. Because, in a vein similar to that of Major Matt, knew what he wanted. And there was no partying, there was no substances. I think punctuality was big, and but so late 60s, very early 70s, Mothers of Invention stuff is bonkers.
Okay.
Then you have 80s stuff, which is all these different directions of wild.
Yeah.
And, just sort of like perpetually reinventing himself. Gets sick in the early 90s, passes in 94, so the collection stops there. But the stuff in the 70s is my wheelhouse.
Okay.
I mean, Joe's Garage is kind of the tail end of it, so to speak. Not that there's some stuff from the 80s that you could certainly include too, but there's 7, 8, 9 records from the 70s where I don't know why the drums from Joe's would stand out over any of the others. Yeah. But production wise, across the board. Okay. His stuff from the 70s is just jaw dropping. I mean, I could go on for days about him, but
I'll circle back to you asked about do I gravitate maybe more to drums or guitar?
Yeah.
I think drums will always be my first love. That's where I started, and I think you'll catch me tapping out stuff as I listen to it, or even if I'm not at a kit, I'm at a kit. Yeah. I feel sorry for my partner Netabona whenever we go to shows, because sometimes like if she's standing in front of me, I'm like playing on her back or whatever, like or her shoulders. I try not to now because I'm more conscious of it, but it just happens. But I feel I've been playing guitar for quite a while too, but I feel more like I guess less confident there. However, I will say that like I don't mind that I'm less confident with that, because I feel like the potential for growth and for just kind of it's more, I guess, wide open for me right now. I'm still like trying to learn scales. I'm much more of like I'm definitely a rhythm guy. I am learning how to do cool riffs, or but I'm not a guy that's going to come in and burn it down and have a big solo or whatever. But again, I don't think that's always needed either.
But you prefer the, what was it? Telecaster?
Yeah.
And it's a 6-string electric.
Yeah.
And is it in your hands more days than it's not? Is it day? Like how often are you picking it up and just messing around, toying with ideas?
I probably would be a lot more proficient if I did pick it up every day. I should. I have a little more time now. I was doing the Ford job 9 to 5, or and then also doing a record store called Black Cat Vinyl. Still doing that in a pop-up form, but not in a physical location any longer. So I was essentially working 7 days a week. So the last couple of years, it's been hard to really kind of get, you get home and you want to spend time with your partner, and you kind of want to rest a little bit and things like that. And so like, I feel like there's gonna be a creative surge coming. I need to make it a point to, some people are very regimented, like I have to do, like you said, 30 minutes an hour, 90 minutes a day with my instruments, and I've always had a problem being that disciplined.
It's so tough.
But I feel like it's a goal that I have for myself in these next few months, just to kind of really, maybe not necessarily put a time limit on it, but like, hey, let's sit with this for a while. So
I think that I follow Black Cat Vinyl, and I maybe have even engaged with the Instagram account at some point, but I feel like it crossed my radar. Oh, cool. And then it was like, and I might not be right about this, but it's like not long after I come across, like, oh, brick and mortar now.
Yeah.
And then I think even Dane might have mentioned it, like, no more brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So this is your deal? You're behind it?
Yeah. So in the pandemic, I had some acquaintances that I'd made that they had always wanted to have a restaurant, so they started a food truck.
Oh.
And I was like, I've wanted to do a record store for years, probably about 20 years. But I was like, I don't have the capital, I don't have the startup. Then it just dawned on me. I was like, they're out here doing a pop-up. Why couldn't I do a pop-up record store? So I kind of pared down my own collection, and then found some new items here and there that I got for a decent price that I knew I could make a little margin on, and did that for 2 years, almost 3 before I landed into Turnstile Books. I knew previously from doing shows at Revolution Records. I knew Promise from that because Major Matt Mason would play shows there pretty often, and they needed a sublease for a smaller room, and it was about the perfect size for the inventory that I had, and it was very inexpensive at the time for monthly rent.
I know. I think I know Revolution Records, but the crossroads are escaping me. Where is it?
Yeah.
Is it downtown?
It's behind Grinders.
Okay.
Yeah, or
Okay.
was.
Was.
It's no longer. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody who, when that shut down, Promise and some of the people from that staff started a bookstore called Turnstile Books, and that's on Broadway or across from the Kaufman Center, where the ballet and the symphony is.
Sure.
So I moved in there. We did it for about 2 years, but the start of this year, there was a significant just drop off in sales and things. And as cheap as the rent is, I was putting money of my own up until that point. Like, it was self-sustaining, even though I wasn't really bringing home anything. It was, moving along at its own pace, and I didn't really have to inject anything into it. But I was getting to the point where I was, and I was like, well, maybe we step back and we go back to the pop-ups again for now. So that's kind of the plan going forward. But I'm very optimistic. I thought I was going to be like crushed, but I feel like, hey, I put myself out there, I did it, and nobody can take that from me. No. And then also, like, I don't feel like I'm done. And I do want to, like, as it grows, and I feel like it will grow again. I feel like we will have another physical location, but I want to be not necessarily a label either, but kind of like a Black Site or enigmatic brunch.
Yeah.
To where it's more like a, hey, I really dig your music. How about I help you put it on a physical form?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Shouts out to Brad. He did an episode some time ago, and then Joel versus Joel. Joel Stratton was on.
Yeah.
Both great guys. I loved both of our conversations.
Yeah. So
Black Cat Vinyl. Is it Black Cat Vinyl KC?
Yeah.
On Instagram? Okay,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that attitude, man. Like, hey, I did it. I'm glad I did it. I'm not done. The smarts to go, I don't know if I should be pulling from me to put into this if you're aware that sales have dropped off.
Right.
I mean, so you pared down your own collection from what? What are we talking? How long have you been buying vinyl?
Oh, I started in college, which was probably, college started for me in like the fall of '97.
Okay. Where are we going?
We're gonna open up a whole can of worms here.
I mean, if it's not something you want to do, that's fine.
we can. I'm an open book. I went to Hannibal LaGrange College, which is in Hannibal, Missouri, which is a very fundamentalist Christian college. Which was
Mark Twain.
Yeah, home of Mark Twain for sure. Which everything in the town is named after either
Mark
him
Twain
or
stuff.
one of the characters, right? Yeah. Which is quaint when you first lived there, but I changed majors a couple of times and dropped out at one point to pursue a band, and that didn't work out. But anyway, I ended up being in Hannibal for a little over 6 years, and that's 6 too many.
How far from Columbia is Hannibal?
That's a good question. It was maybe hour and a half, I guess.
So, but like not too far if you wanted to go gig there.
Sure.
Okay, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So college starts there in 97.
Yeah. And I just started buying a little here and there, like small, up and coming bands that I would see at shows or whatever. Oh, you got record? Okay, cool. My aunt Peggy, had this great collection when I was young, and I loved going over to her house. Actually, this is the whole origin story of the reason why I wanted to own a record store as well. Or actually, you can even trace it back to why I wanted to be a musician in the first place. My house, loving house, nothing untoward or but very strict, very evangelical.
Okay.
So I was restricted to only Christian music in the house, with some exceptions. Like Phil Collins was okay for some reason, which like.
I love Phil.
I do too.
But there are folks that don't. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
No, like Phil is great to this day. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I will put that shit on and love every minute of it.
Now, I'm surprised it's still around. It just gave me goosebumps. There's a trend on TikTok where people are using dun, 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 dun. What's the name of that tune?
Just think about it. Another Day in Paradise.
Yes. And it's so great. It's so great.
Yeah.
He's so much more than In the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
Phil Collins was acceptable.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Here at our store, we got both sections, Christian and Phil Collins.
Right. I can't understand it, but that's just how it was. Like, and my parents, they didn't like, they still carried some of the stuff that they liked. Like, my dad was a big Neil Diamond fan.
Okay.
I personally, probably because of that, don't really like Neil Diamond. I get the significance, great songwriter, all that stuff, but like I can't.
Your homework is to go, if you've never listened to it before, listen to 12 songs.
Okay.
It's a record from the early mid 2000s.
Okay.
That Rick Rubin produced.
Oh, say no more. Okay,
and he went. I tell a story all the time, but he went to like a cabin with his 6-string acoustic for I don't know, 6 weeks or whatever it was, and made a record and came down and gave it to Rick, and Rick listened to it and goes, "Get back up there." And he came down. And he came down and he gave it to me. He goes, "There it is," and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it really is. It's not anything like what you might associate with your staple Neil Diamond stuff. It's singer-songwriter, but with like some fat organ and great engineering and musicianship. It's lovely record.
Okay. Again, it's not necessarily a hate. It's just kind of a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
Like, when my dad passed, I kept a couple of records just because I wanted him near me in that form, like when I wanted to pull it out, but it just never resonated like it did for him.
Sure.
And then my mom was like into like the Carpenters and like Kenny Rogers and stuff like that, which again, okay, we'll say that the Carpenters, now as an adult, I can look and see Karen Carpenter just wail on the drums. I'm like, holy crap.
I don't know if I knew she played drums.
Yeah. You should look it up.
Okay.
Like and you'll be like, oh, okay. Like, now I look at them differently, but it's still not my get down, right?
Right.
So, all that's to say is Aunt Peggy never had kids, and she was like
mom's sister or dad's?
Mom's sister, and she was a definitely a hippie.
Okay.
And
I like Aunt Peggy already.
Yeah. Went to art school, but it never materialized for her, but she still did it for fun, which was great. And like, she would, on a weekend in the summer, pretty often, like, she'd be like, "Hey, come spend the night at my place." Yeah, sure. And then she'd just put these huge headphones, like these cans, on me, and she'd be like, "Brian, you've got to hear this." And like, so, we're talking like Beatles, Stones, like all the classics, right? And just pumping it into me. And I was like, she would let me like record little stuff on cassette and like sneak it back into the house because she knows my parents aren't going to let me have it. And like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. Peggy was the best, God rest her soul. So that just my love for rock specifically, music in general, art in general, like really comes from her. And so,
her collection is where?
When she passed, she actually left a decent portion of it to me, so that kind of helped it to multiply.
Okay.
And then, I just full on started spending way too much money. Just, I gotta have this. Now it's like somewhere between 800 and 1,000 albums. I'm not exactly sure. I've lost track.
Does the collection live, and is it organized?
It is organized, absolutely. It's in my home.
Yeah. Does it have its own room? Is it?
No, I wish.
Okay.
Not yet. I'm sure one day we'll get there.
Okay.
It's in the living room of my house right now, and thankfully, my partner is very also into music, so
Cool.
no issues there. It's not like a begrudging thing.
And is there also a stereo in the living
There
room?
There is, yeah.
Okay. Now, I know to each his or her own.
Yeah.
Sometimes folks have a living room like that where their vinyl lives and there's a record player.
Yeah.
And they put on vinyl and they sit in that room and listen to it.
Almost every day.
And you're not doing anything else? Or do you have your phone in your hand? I mean, like, we live in such a...
That varies. That does vary.
Okay.
There are days... So I will use it every day,
Wow.
for sure. Sometimes I'll be like, dusting or making dinner or something while I'm doing it. Other times there's a chair right next to the record player that, there are days that if I have the luxury, I will just put a record on, sit in that chair and be like, here we go. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, show me... I don't want to get like hyperbolic or general, but I mean, it feels like the lens looking at humans that are doing one thing,
Yeah.
and in a given moment is just shrinking, because we're all, on our phones, multitasking,
It's true.
so on and so forth. So I think it's great,
Yeah.
and where I go is like, can I turn some of this off and not think about the 3 baskets of laundry that I need to fold?
Right.
Or the fact that I owe 12 people an email message or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I think it's great, though.
It is definitely fun when I get the opportunity. Again, like I said, I'm not going to say that I do that every day, but as much as I can, especially when I get a new album, I definitely like to... I'm really weird about it. Like, if, let's say... It doesn't really matter. Let's just say American football. They came out with a new album recently. I didn't get it the day it came out, but got it fairly soon. I won't stream it. If it's something that I've purchased. Like, I won't stream it first. I'll be like, I want to wait and have that first time be the sitting down, listening to it in its entirety, and having that experience, because I do really feel, as someone who, makes music as well. And when it's this, especially stuff like Holiday at Sea, because I guess it's more like I'm the engine that drives that. And so like, I put a lot of thought into, song order, what I want you to feel with that, what I wanted to say with that. Excuse me. Yeah, and so I'm also a big proponent of the entire album is itself a statement, or it should be in the context of...
It's one of the reasons why I do this.
Yeah,
and like, hopefully, no shade to the hundreds and thousands of artists out there that, they just are cut from that cloth of single. Like, you do you, but I hope the album has enough followers and supporters to live on way past my time here. Because it's a part of you that you go, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I made that, and I thought about all of the details.
Yeah.
Liner notes, album art, cover, what tracks, there. You could write chapters about tracks that didn't make it that you love, but it just for whatever reason, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But you pare down your collection and start a record store with what's left. Am I understanding that right?
Well, I went through and sometimes, okay, I can be impulsive when I buy things. I guess I'm getting better at it. To the extent where, like, okay, let's say Blondie. I love Blondie, right? But not every Blondie album is a banger. I'm thinking of The Hunter right now, right?
Okay.
No shade necessarily.
Right,
It's just not my favorite. But I used to be somewhat of a completionist. Like, I thought, okay, if I love this band, I have to have everything from that they put out. Yeah. And nothing wrong with that. Mostly though, it got to the point where I was running out of storage room, and it was like, okay, do I buy another, storage unit for my records, or do I say, hey, I haven't even touched that in like 3 years. Maybe I don't need to have
These
it.
are emotional decisions.
Right.
I'm scared.
Right. But so that's kind of how I started to be like, there were maybe records that I had more than one copy of, that I was like, I don't have to have every pressing of Disintegration.
You're that guy.
Or
okay.
I used to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
are you, across the life of your purchasing, your collecting, are you always in a place do you ever buy online?
Yeah, I do. I try as much as I can to support local or small,
right,
when I can. When I first moved here, I was buying like crazy from Mills record company. I like that, the personal interaction, because you even get to have like develop friendships with the people that work there, or at least acquaintances, things like that. I sometimes buy direct from a label, like if I can't find it where I'm at. The very last place I'll go is like an Amazon or something like that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Your first pop-up, your first Black Cat.
Yeah.
So are you putting out just this is what I am offering?
Yeah.
I'm not going to have 12 copies of the new Taylor Swift or whatever. Choose your and just, hey, come dig through, and if you find something you like, awesome. If you don't.
Yeah, so I have friends who are part owners of Rochester Roasting and Brewing in the Crossroads, and they were really cool about letting me pop up there for the first time, and subsequently, like most times, and we're to the point where I'm just like, hey, can I come? And they're like, yeah, sure, just tell us when. So shout out to them. They're great, and their coffee is great, and their beer is great.
Rochester Roasting and Brewing.
Yeah, should check it out.
Okay.
They also have another location that is, it's escaping me where it is, but it's like in a train car, I think.
Oh, cool. Nice.
It'll come to me, but yeah, if you find them on Instagram or online, you'll know where the other place is. Yeah, so it was just kind of like, so low key. I don't know if you ever heard of Cargo Largo.
Of course.
Okay. So I got all like maybe one crate of used stuff that I didn't necessarily need to have anymore, through like I said, if it was a duplicate, or maybe it's something I haven't listened to in forever that I'm not gonna like feel like it's cutting off a limb to not have, and then Cargo Largo at the time, not this way anymore. I don't know who is smoking what, who's pricing their closeout records now, because like they want sometimes more than the MSRP, on things that they're putting out. I'm like, who is going to buy that from Cargo Largo
records?
For
$50?
Yeah.
I didn't know they carried records.
Yeah, they do. And it used to be that I could go in and find, you'd have to look a little bit, because a lot of them were, bumped corners or partially opened or things like that. But a fair amount of them weren't. and you could find like a $25 record that you could get there for like $12 at the time, and so I could turn around and at least make something from it.
Right.
So I leaned on that for a while, but again, like I said, now I think they know that, or they have this weird inflated idea that they can charge exactly what, like, Mills or even I would.
Right. Cutting that margin right out of the picture.
Yeah. So I don't do that anymore. But for when I first started out, that was a way that I got some new albums as well. So
Okay.
I pretty much would go out, that's how I started the very first time. One crate of used from my stuff, and then one crate of what I accumulated from like Cargo Largo. They're new, but I got them through them. Now I have a relationship with a distributor, so I can order most things. And luckily, through conversation, when I first opened, like I'd been told I was plotting this out for a long time before it happened, and I was friends with like some of the guys that were working, like Sean, who's now Mana Records.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk that much now, just because we're so busy. But I was like picking his brain all the time when he was at Mills before he started Manor, and I was like, hey, like, distributor, how much do you have to order every time to have that relationship?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And he was telling me at the time like 2,000, I think, and I was like, oh gosh, I can't. Dollars worth.
Okay.
Dollars. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do that. But I reached out to a distributor, and I was like, hey, what's the minimum here? Like, I told him kind of the size that I was, and that I wasn't yet of high volume. And they were like, hey, as long as you order more than 200, you're cool, because that'll cover like the shipping cost and stuff like that. So that's
nice of them to be transparent.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah. And so I was like, I can do that. So I've got a distributor now that I can get most new things from. And even though I talked to him again, and I was like, hey, I had to relinquish the brick and mortar store, but I'm going to continue to be a pop-up. Are you cool with that? Can we still do business? And they're, yeah, sure. Like, so,
Sweet.
Yeah. So that's how I'm going to continue to be able to do things. But
so when folks come in,
yeah,
pop-up, brick and mortar, whatever the case may be,
yeah,
look through stuff and then say, do you ever see any Phil Collins come through? And you say, yeah, but it's usually gone pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I could get it for you.
Absolutely.
And so when you go to place your order, you're doing special orders for folks that are asking.
100%.
Cool.
Like,
very nice.
even now, I just had a pop-up at Rochester on Sunday, this past Sunday, and there was somebody who was looking for the M83 Hurry Up. I forget the full title. Hurry Up.
That's fine.
I'm getting it mixed up with the Weeknd's Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Right.
But anyway, Hurry Up, We're Dreaming, I think, is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, somebody was like, hey, I'm really looking for this. And yeah, I ordered it for him and brought it to the pop-up and said, hey, I reached out and said, hey, it's in. I can either meet you somewhere in the city that's whatever's good for you, or I'm going to be at this pop-up and you can come there. And they were like, yeah, I'll just meet you at the pop-up. So I do a lot of that, honestly.
Cool.
Like, a lot of people just reach out and say, hey, can you get me this? And as long as I can, absolutely, let's do it.
And shipping, seamless, no issues with. I place an order, the order comes, and it's always pretty smooth.
Yeah, usually it's about 2 to 3 day wait.
That's fun.
So it's, yeah.
Like, I will say, we had a very, very small vinyl collection, and my dad was buying 8 tracks.
Okay.
And then at my mom's house, we had some vinyl. I started with cassettes and held out for so long, like till 2000. Like, before I was like, all right, and I made the switch to CDs.
Yeah, okay.
And then it was like stream. I was like, see, I knew it. There's always a new medium, but I probably have, I don't know, 800 albums on cassette, and it's probably was 1,000 or 1,100 at some point. But I developed such a habit that I started having to go. I'll just dub my copy of AC/DC The Razor's Edge
right.
with Thunder. I don't need that. I'd sell it. I'd go to the used and sell it for cash or trade it for something I'd find there. And
Okay.
Like to this day, there's a little sliver of me that wished that I never parted with anything, but I wouldn't have come across so much other stuff if I had not done it.
Yeah.
So, it's like, all right, I'll start buying CDs. Oh shit, now streaming. Nobody has their CDs anymore. And okay, surely that has to be the end. There's no vinyl renaissance.
Right.
So I start buying, I'm like, this is so irresponsible. Like the cheapest, not really going places. I'm not leaving the house to go buy records.
Okay.
But if I'm out and about, blah blah blah, I'm seldom in a spot where I'm there's a lot of used. But just looking at sticker prices it's like the cheapest record is $30.
Yeah, it's high now.
I mean, as recent as a month ago could have compared it to gas or groceries. But
right.
Even now, I'm like, well, that's that. I mean, everything is so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd love to be a member of the active buying vinyl community, but I just can't right now.
I 100% understand. I mean, that's largely why I had to close.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Jeez. 100%.
So Major Matt, Holiday at Sea, Creepy Jingles at the Creepy Jingles on Instagram, 4-piece Casey outfit, who make you pop till you drop. Jocelyn Nixon, vocals and also guitar and keys.
Yeah, for sure.
And then if I'm not right on this, let me know. You're on drums for that?
I am.
And then Andrew Woody's on bass.
Correct.
And then Travis McKenzie on guitar.
No.
Okay.
It's Joseph Peaks.
Joseph Peaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then now we're actually a 5-piece. We added on a friend of mine, Galen Gillespie, on keyboards. So Jocelyn mostly plays guitar.
Okay.
And he does the keys.
Cool.
Yeah. So the way I got hooked up with them, I was actually at the Brick playing for Major Matt Mason, and Jocelyn was doing a solo set, and I just was like, I liked the songs, I liked the vibe that she had as a performer. I found her guitar that she was using very interesting. I don't even remember what it was, a brand that was unfamiliar to me, but it was acoustic electric, but it was just, it had kind of like an ornateness to it and a sound that was really full and good. And so I walk up to her after her set, and I was like, really like what you're doing. Tell me about this guitar. I'm a bit on the spectrum, so I don't always have that filter that some people do. That like,
are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I might mask well. I don't know, but I
You know who Shane Gillis is?
Yeah.
Stand-up comic.
Yeah.
He's Down syndrome comes up a lot in his jokes, and he often jokes that he looks like he can make a certain face and look like, but he's like, it's in my family, it's in my bloodline, like that shit, I saw it coming, but it nicked me. So anyway,
so I had no filters, so I'm just like starting a conversation, and then by the end of the night, she approached me and she's like, hey, our previous drummer has left the Creepy Jingles, and that's why I was only playing a solo set. Would you be interested? And I was like, oh my gosh, I am. But I said, I've stretched myself so much already that I don't want to give you something that I can't commit to,
right,
or, be like hard yes, and then it doesn't work. And so I was kind of like, I'm very into what you guys are doing. I think musically, sonically, stylistically, it makes sense as a musician. Like I know that I can fit in here easily. But I was like, so here's my deal, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna say no because they're pretty popular in the city. They're pretty active or have been previously. I was like, I could give you every other week rehearsals, but I can't do weekly. Like that would probably burn me out. And I was like, I'm probably pretty
On
sure.
the spot, you had this?
No, this is probably like a couple of days
Okay.
after. Like after
I mean,
I'm kind of.
Either way, that's, I mean, very wise, very shrewd of you to. Okay, here's the thing. Here's what I can offer. I want to do it, but
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, and I fully expected to get a message back being like, "Hey, really appreciate you, but that's not what we're looking for." But what I got back like was so kind for someone that they don't even really know yet. Jocelyn was like, "Hey, we will be a better band with you in it, so I'm cool with that."
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like,
That's
count
so
count
cool.
me in.
Nice.
So yeah.
Whoever's running the Instagram for that, give them a nudge for me because we messaged a little over a year ago.
Okay.
And we got kind of far in the process and then it fell off. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Jocelyn or somebody else, but I mean, I'd love to have
Most
whoever
likely.
wants to. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's cool. I was tentative about listing the members because I did come across that. Oh, it looks like there was a different drummer at some point, and so
Yeah.
I wanted to know, like, how did that go? I mean, obviously you want to learn the catalog and know the gig vibe and what kind of people, so on and so forth. But I mean, I would imagine there could be situations like the one you described with Matt where it's like not that.
Yeah.
Was it smooth? Was it easy?
No, it's been very smooth. I started listening to the back catalog and just trying to, for the songs that we're going to perform from those recordings, just try to almost mimic exactly what Nick, the former drummer, was doing. And like I said, we have similar styles, so it was something that translated well. And then Jocelyn very much wanted to kind of make a statement. They had a record in the can when I came in. They hadn't released yet. And in fact, I think it's going to drop this week.
Wow.
Called Washed Up.
Okay. I saw a self-titled debut EP from May 2019, and then Take Me at My Wordplay full length from 2022, and then maybe some singles.
Yeah. So some of the singles will be included on Washed Up that comes out later this week. I think on the 21st, maybe.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Right.
Look at the Instagram. But well, by the time you hear this, if you're listening anyway, it's already happened.
Right.
So Washed Up will be able to be streamed. And I believe we're releasing cassettes for that.
Sweet.
On Enigmatic Brunch. So that's going to be cool.
Shouts out to Brad.
Yeah.
And Eggs on Mars.
Absolutely. They're so good.
Yeah,
like,
I love it.
Yeah.
And he, not necessarily like, my lens of seeing stuff on the socials, it's like he launches Enigmatic Brunch, they put out Joel versus Joel, and then he has a child.
Yeah.
All in this. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
So much like good things.
Yes.
Good thing overload. But yes, Jocelyn is very much a disciplined songwriter, though. She will like mark out like almost, okay, like once this album is done, I am laser focused on new material. Like she will pump it out in a way that I super respect.
Nice.
And so she was like, okay, we are going to learn some of the back catalog things, but what I really want to do is to come out strong with being ambitious, and let's release and record a 6-song EP same year as we're dropping this full length. Because she was like, I want there to be something representing the new members.
Cool.
Which was very gratifying as well. You
Yeah.
know, to know that you were valued enough that like that's a priority that she had
Very
with
cool.
everything. Yeah, yeah,
Good
yeah.
thing overload.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
What-
so, we're hoping to have by the fall then another EP, a 6-song one that I will be included on coming out. But more information on that later. Check out. We're thinking vinyl for that, and we're partnering with Enigmatic Brunch on that one
Sweet.
as well. But all the details of that will be later this year. We're working on mixing it right now. We've already recorded everything. So,
Huh.
yeah.
Are you able to speak to the origin story behind the name Creepy Jingles?
Oh, I asked Jocelyn about this because my partner was like, "Where did she come up with that name?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know."
Two
But
fascinating words,
yeah,
sort of shoved together.
I'll let her go maybe deeper into it because I don't know if maybe she's very her delivery is very dry sometimes and very she's very funny.
Okay.
And so when I asked her about it, she's like, "I just thought it sounded cool." And I was like, "Fair enough."
Does.
Like,
It
yeah,
does.
it does. Yeah.
Um,
But maybe there's a deeper story you
Right.
can pull out of
Right.
her for that. But yeah.
Buy American.
Yeah.
Not BUY, BYE.
Yeah.
American. At Buy American on Instagram. Casey Mill Pedal Punk Band with Red Kate, Face Disorder, Major Matt, and Holiday at Sea members.
Yeah.
So give me the rundown on the lineup for that outfit.
So once I wanted to actually do a bit more with Holiday at Sea after the last EP that we released, and I was trying to I knew that it wasn't everybody's main gig, but I wanted to maybe be a bit more active instead of once a year, maybe do a show every couple months or something like that. And I didn't push too hard, but a lot of the people that were in that outfit, especially the drummer, Bo Gabriel Smith, he's an amazing good friend and great drummer, but he had just started a business of his own that was taking a lot of his time, and he was just like, I'm sorry guys, like if I can, when I can, I will,
Sure.
but I can't be like regular. And that seemed to be from Logan Park was one of the we'll get to this here because I know that from listening to Dane's episode, the 3 guitar stigma and
I'd already forgotten about it.
and is that necessary? But one of the 3 guitarists, Logan Park, from me was starting to take off, and so he and Dane are both in the current lineup of Holiday at Sea, and they were less available. So I was like, okay, maybe this is just not the time for us to gig out. Fine. And I love everything I've been hearing from me. Actually, there was a brief moment where before I settled on Buy American, and we'll get to how that came, Logan was kind of like, hey, I might want a second guitar, and from me, would you have the interest or the time?
Don't call him Logan 1 and Logan 2.
True. He would be Logan 1, though. Just saying.
Yeah.
And Logan is like one of the nicest dudes you will ever meet. Like super cool, but also super talented. He will wail on the guitar. Like he doesn't use it like all the time. Like a lot of the times you're like, which makes it even cooler because you're like, where the hell did that come from? Like he'll be just in the pocket, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, holy shit, this guy's really good. But anytime I've been involved with him in any project, I've just had the best time. And so I was so tempted, but I knew that they were going to be pretty active. And it was kind of the Jingles situation where I was like,
yeah,
I don't know that I can give you what you would need, so I'm probably going to have to say no, unfortunately. So then Spencer White, who was also one of my guitarists in that band, Holiday at Sea, he was like, hey, well, I still want to make music. I've got a couple other guys that I knew Nick from Phase Distorter already because we very briefly were in a pre-COVID band called Jordan Noise.
Okay.
That we did like one EP, and then COVID hit, and then everything, we just never got back together after that. So I knew those two guys already. I knew that we could do something cool, and then I met Andy from Red Kate, the drummer, and yeah, Spencer and I have like, and we'll get into this later too with one of my selections. We're both big fans of the Appleseed Cast from Lawrence, Kansas, and it kind of seeps out in the way we both write, and so he's maybe the main writer of here's the song structure, but like he and I play off of each other really well, and we did that even in Holiday at Sea. Like I'd present something to him, and like he just knew exactly where to go with it, and so I knew that there would be like it would be comfortable, but challenging at the same time. I'm not saying like a bad comfortable, right?
Sure.
But like I knew what I would expect going into the project, and so yeah. Being that everybody in that band is also from other bands, we're not necessarily, excuse me, not necessarily as active as we would want to be, or specifically as Spencer wants to be. He gets quite perturbed if like we're like, hey, we can't get together this week. He's like, okay. He's like, I guess it's not. I'm getting second place here
Sure.
to some of these other projects, but he says it jokingly. He takes it in stride. But
so who's in it and who's playing what?
So Spencer White is he plays guitar. There's no real lead. We both kind of go back and forth between carrying rhythm.
And he's also in what other?
He's in Holiday at Sea as well.
Okay. Spencer White, you.
Yeah. Myself, Nick from Phase Distorter,
okay,
and then Andy from Red Kate.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So 4-piece.
What is pedal punk?
Good question. You'd have to ask Spencer what that is.
Okay.
I think we have punk tendencies, but also kind of Midwest emo tendencies, and we kind of go back and forth between the two, and we didn't really know what to call that. And actually, oddly enough, I've always wanted to do like a new wave project, but I don't know how to. I can think. I took, as part of my collegiate experience, I started off as a music major, majoring in both instrumental and vocal. Which is a whole another conversation because it was crazy. But to try to take on both, like the schedule was nuts. The amount of practice times that you had to put into each thing, I couldn't do it. Just overload. But yeah, so I had some piano experience through that, but not much. So like I'd never felt like I could really dive into a full new wave type of project, or at least not without matching up with somebody who knows what they're doing on keyboard. But I feel like, so, we have the punk aspect, we have the emo aspect, I guess, but then somehow like I'm spitting out like occasionally like a Tears for Fears riff.
Oh, wow.
that like I'm like, where did that come from? I like it, but does it so it becomes, how do we even classify what we're doing here? So I think he just came up with pedal punk, and I don't really know what that means. So.
Have you seen the movie Friday?
I have not, which I know.
Okay.
I'm looking at your face, and yeah, my partner feels the same way.
Okay.
So it's something that I need to do. Obviously, I've seen portions, but I haven't seen the thing all
There's
the
a
way
neighbor.
Okay.
in Friday
Yeah.
named Felicia.
Yeah.
And she comes around like I think she's chasing the dragon or something's going on with her. But
Yeah.
every time she's coming around, she's, let me borrow your car right quick. And they're like, the response more often than not to her is bye Felicia.
Yeah.
And it's become a meme
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. I look at the name of this band and I think of somebody from the States that's overseas.
Yeah.
And they walk into a place and they go, hey, where are you from? And I'm from, the United States. And they're like, bye American.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that anywhere close to
that's kind of the feel.
Okay.
So we're all kind of, blue collar guys that are in the band, and being, like I'm a union guy or whatever, somebody said just out loud, buy American. And
buy a Chrysler.
And I was like, I think my retort was B-U-Y or B-Y-E. And then somebody was like B-Y-E. And I was like, there's the name.
Nice,
like,
nice.
Yeah.
There's an old, maybe recurring Saturday Night Live skit in the 80s where Phil Hartman would he would appear in skits as Lee Iacocca, who was the CEO or whatever of Chrysler. And he would just, no matter the comment, he'd just stick buy a Chrysler. And always trying to sell his cars. That's funny.
Oh, Phil, man, that's a guy who went too soon, right?
I know.
Like, so sad.
I need to take 5.
Yeah.
And use the washroom.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We talked Major Matt, Creepy Jingles, Holiday at Sea, Buy American, and you are born and raised St. Louis area?
A little bit south, yeah.
A little bit south, okay.
Hillsboro,
okay.
Missouri, which
go.
nobody knows where
Right.
that is. So I just claim St. Louis.
There you go. Siblings?
I have one older sister named Stacy.
Okay.
She's 5 years older than I am.
Right on. Any idea how mom and dad's paths initially crossed?
So I believe that, well, they got married pretty young. I think dad was 19. Maybe mom was, well, no, actually, mom was older. That's right. She was like 2 years older than my dad. Yeah, so they got like 21, 19, I think, is when they got married. And I think they met at church, which makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about stuff that was that your folks were into and stuff that you guys were hearing in the home growing up. So there's that pocket of music. Over here's the list that you shared with me. Anything stand out in terms of like your first discovery of music outside the home, or your first buy, or maybe the first record that Aunt Peggy turned you on to that's not from home and not from your list?
Sure. There was like this, and I'm not now historically a big Rolling Stones fan, although like early Rolling Stones I love. But there was like a history of music compilation of the Rolling Stones that she put me on to, that like I dubbed onto a cassette and snuck into my home and everything, and I really dug that at the time. And then anything Beatles, like I'm a huge Beatles fan, unapologetically. I like drug Beatles more.
Sure. Yeah.
But the early stuff is great too. Yeah, I think as weird as this is going to sound, when I started, this is when I tell you that this is like my rebellious thing that I did as a kid, you're gonna be like, what? But when I tell you that things were pretty strict on what I could listen to, even some Christian music was off the table, like specifically Stryper.
It's one of the first names.
Yeah. And so, when To Hell with the Devil came out, then like my parents were like, that's too suggestive. That's too, like, that's not good, blah, blah, blah. So I had to like sneak in Stryper into my home even. And I loved I loved it when I was a kid, and secretly I still have a couple of albums in my collection because even though like now I'll lyrically I go back and I listen to it, I'm like, oh, like I can't fully get into it lyrically, but it just takes me back to like a time and place, and the music is still good.
Nice.
Yeah. So
any early or first concert memories? First show?
Again, there are a lot of them are in that Christian realm still,
Sure.
but like I remember seeing this Christian rock band called Petra. That was oh wow, yeah, like I want to do that. I want to perform in front of people, things like that. DC Talk.
Say it, DC Dog?
DC Talk.
DC Talk.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of that. But, like that was a big, it's so bad. Like if you go back and listen to, and you wouldn't be going back, you'd be hearing it for the first time. You'd be like, oh my God, what was this guy listening to? But it was a rap / hip hop Christian group that was fronted by a white dude named Toby Mac.
Okay.
Yeah, it does not hold up at all. But it was huge for me at the time.
Yeah.
I've got so another weird thing about the house was like I was allowed to listen to anything that was on the radio because they knew that like the FCC and everything was like nothing super offensive was going to be on the radio. I just couldn't purchase it. Like I guess putting our money behind it was bad, but actually hearing at least the edited versions,
like the tunes from the 80s that were coming out, like Hot for Teacher, most things Madonna. I mean, there was plenty that was getting radio play that if you pay attention, you're like, okay.
And I think they were aware of that too, but I think they thought that probably most of that was going over our head. Do you know what I mean?
Fair. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned, what'd you say his name was? Toby Mac?
Yeah. I think he's still doing it, by the way.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But it immediately made me think of Third Base.
Okay.
The Cactus, because they put out more than one record, but it was two white dudes, two that were, Prime Minister Pete and maybe MC Serge. I don't remember, but it was like the Gas Face was like the big single from the Cactus cassette. And I just recently have seen some reels or TikToks where I had no idea he was producing on other people's stuff and saying, I get this amount from release date through whatever it is, 12 months, 36 months. And then that is reverted back to you, but I lifetime get 2%. Yeah. Okay. And people were like, okay, no problem. And just like, I think you'd be surprised at the handful of folks that he produced and had the wherewithal to say, here's what it's going to look like for you. I'm going to get a chunk of that for a short amount of time, and then that chunk reverts back to you, but I'm down here at 2% lifetime.
Right.
Insanely wise, because he's doing fine now. I mean, but yeah, they were fascinating because they were like pre-Vanilla Ice. Okay. And no shade to him, but like kind of legit feeling. Yeah. Sort of, the cigar and the tracksuit kind of vibe.
We can shade Vanilla if you want to.
I mean, I'm trying not to yuck anybody's yum. So you cut your teeth on the kit. Yeah. And there was no piano lessons, no guitar initially. It was just drums out of the gate.
I was the only musical person in my family. Well, my mom, I guess, when she was in grade school was, in the orchestra and did violin, but she never pulled it out, never played it like and still hasn't my entire life. I don't think she really she enjoys music, but I don't think she really got into playing an instrument, which is fine. Yeah, so it came to like 5th grade, and my school district was, that's when band starts. And I think my parents knew that I came out of the womb pretty much like making up like my own little songs or whatever. I think when I was 3, there's pictures of me with a toy guitar that I just would never put down, and I'm walking around the house like I think my aunt on my dad's side still has a cassette of me somewhere like going around at like a Christmas party, like making people listen to me sing different things. So like it's always been there. And so I think my parents were just like, hey, maybe you should try band. And they had me put down the way they selected who was going to play what. They just said, what's your number 1 choice? What's your number 2 choice? I said number 1 was saxophone. Number 2 would be drums. And they were like, well, we have too many saxophones, so you're going to be on drums. So that's kind of how it started. And then, just learned like snare drum by itself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then going into like 8th grade, about to make that transition to high school, one of the guys that worked with my father at the grocery store that he managed was a senior in the jazz band, drummer, about to graduate, and he would come and volunteer with the 8th grade band to kind of mentor or help give tips on technique and things like that. And one day his name was Ron Sykes, and he still plays in the St. Louis area. I think the Funky Butt Brass Band, I want to say. Okay. Great drummer, amazing drummer. And one day he comes in his time to mentor us, and he's like, you know what? We're holding tryouts for jazz band. There's a spot for a drummer open because I'm graduating. You should try out. And I was like, Ron, dude, I've never touched a drum set in my life. What are you talking about? Like, that's the stupidest thing ever. So I go home to my dad, and my dad was very, very loving, but never. He also enjoyed music, but never played anything.
Right.
It was very, I guess, not purposely, but kind of withdrawn in like praise or compliments or things like that. If he didn't like immediately connect with it, like if it was sports or something like that, it was there. But since he didn't know that genre, that world, or whatever, he just was like, oh, okay, like it wasn't something that he was like super like, yeah, go, but so I came home and I was like, Dad, get this. You'll never believe what Ron said. He thinks I should try out for jazz band. I've never touched a drum set in my life. What the heck?
So 5th grade is when you put sax and drums?
Yeah.
And then
so
8th grade is when he tells you?
Yeah.
So you never...
I never touched a drum set. Just a snare drum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For 3 years?
Yeah,
just a snare? Okay.
Okay. And so my dad was like, yeah, you should. You should try out. I was like, serious? He's like, well, Ron's good. If he thinks that you're good enough to do it, you should probably try it at least. It's like, okay. So it's kind of wild, I admit. Like, I still can't process exactly what happened. But the way the tryouts were set up was you would go in, the band that was currently, the members would play this particular jazz song. And then everybody who was trying out would play the same song. So it would be like, here's the band playing it. Okay, we're going to switch. Here's the people trying out. And so I'd like laser-eyed and, listening and watching like super intently while he's playing the drum part for that given song. I couldn't tell you what song it was. But then I'm just like trying to mimic as best as I could without a lot of flourishes, but like if I can get the basics of what he's doing and try it, let's go. And so I did, and I ended up getting the spot.
Wow.
What just happened? So then I go home and I'm like, I guess we need a drum kit. Like, like I don't have one. So in the meantime, while my parents are trying to find the money for my first Pearl export kit, like I'm literally taking a chair by my bed and setting pillows like, okay, here's the snare drum. Here's the mounted tom. Here's the floor tom. Like that's how I'm practicing. And then I'm just like listening to whatever, like whatever that I'm listening to on the radio, like, or and okay, what's Jimmy Chamberlain doing here? Okay, can I do something like that? And then just kind of, actually one of the first songs I think that I really, quote unquote, mastered on the drum set was Sunday Bloody Sunday by U2.
That's another, immediately I hear that drum.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah. And so if we were, I feel, we'll get to this later, but I feel like if we were to zoom out further to like my top 10, it would be a little less one note. I was afraid that, after I sent you what I sent you, I was like, is that all too much kind of in the same vein? But it doesn't matter.
No.
But yeah, if you were to zoom out, there's a lot more that I'm into, including, any genre pretty much. If it moves me, I'm into it. But yeah, so like so I never have officially been trained with like lessons on the drum set. Like it's all just been like.
Sounds like you did a fine job teaching yourself.
I hope. Sometimes I'll watch somebody who's really like technically proficient, where they've gone and they've learned all the rudiments, which I know some, right? But like there's those guys that are just clean as fuck, that you see like, and you're like, ooh, I wish I would have gone that route. I wish I would have learned, and I still could,
right.
Right. But then you sit back and you think though, but like, look, the route that you took, I don't know that I would change either, because
it's a pretty cool
how
story.
crazy is that? Like, yeah.
So they eventually do get you a kit and find a spot at home where you can put it and not drive people nuts.
Well, I don't know about that. I still drove people nuts, but yeah, definitely found, at least in our little, like, my sister had graduated already. She was out of the house. She got married pretty early.
She's 5 years older. You
said.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a freshman. She's already at college.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And she had the larger room of the two of ours. So once I got the drum kit, it was like, well, you're not at home anymore. Her room becomes my room. And
where'd she go to school?
SBU, which is Southern Baptist University.
Oh yeah,
in
okay.
Bolivar, Missouri. Yeah.
And so if she's coming home for weekends or breaks, she's sleeping in your old room because you have her room now.
I don't recall that she came back that often.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And maybe she did. Maybe I'm just forgetting, or maybe it wasn't. I think there was a time. So she got married, I think, in her second year of college.
Oh, wow.
Pretty quickly. So there probably was a lag where I was cramped in my little bedroom with my drum kit as well. And I think now that I'm remembering, that's true. But once she got married, I was like, that room's mine now.
Okay, gotcha,
like,
gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing the list with me that you did. It was a fascinating collection. So if we do roll through them chronologically, we start with the Pumpkins' Siamese Dream from 1993, second of 13 for them, including one from 2024 that I had not previously been aware of. This one's 13 tracks, 62 minutes, alternative rock out of Chicago. This one's made a couple of lists. Why is it special for you? Besides, we've mentioned Jimmy's name quite a bit.
Oh my gosh. And Billy too. I mean, such a talent and a songwriter. So they first came into my awareness through hearing the single Today.
Oh yeah.
And just that immediate like opening guitar riff, like I was like, okay, I'm listening, and
people want to give Mayonnaise and Cherub Rock and so many other tracks love
Yeah.
on this record, and
Yeah.
rightfully so, but I'm always like, today's number one. Just for that reason, that this, whatever this is, that it's inviting.
It is.
And then what comes next is really intense,
Right.
but you still feel welcome and
Right.
part of the, whoa, this is nuts. Like,
And I think it was maybe the first time that I had heard music where the dynamics were so rich, I guess, to, because you do go from these growling guitars then to this real subdued, today is, like just real kind of soft and in the pocket. And then next thing you know, you're growling again. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, I need, yeah. I was like, I need more of this.
The video is so tender also at the time. It was like, oh, I want to, that's what, I want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you hear Today first. That turns you onto the record.
Yeah, and so then I have to go out and buy the cassette because it was easy to sneak into my house. And I wish that I still had the cassette for this album. But somewhere along the line, I've lost it. But I'm sure it's probably worth something now because I don't think they produce them anymore. But excuse me, sorry, had some allergies today.
Oh, good. So,
yeah,
my buddy Matt Smith, and I want to just pause really quick to give him shouts out. He makes movies out in L.A. He was the brainchild behind God Bless America, the spin-off of is it Sleeping Beauty? Angelina Jolie plays
Maleficent.
That's his. He did that. He did some of the Step Up movies.
Yeah.
He just has put out 2 films, The Saviors and Wishful Thinking. Both Wishful Thinking has been purchased outright and it's going to be. He's doing a lot of good things. I'm very happy for him. He did episode 72 with me.
Yeah.
I think maybe this was a record on his list.
Okay.
And I bring up to him this alleged choice of Billy's to go back and record all of the other parts.
Yeah, we should talk about that. Yeah.
And I think it's what happened.
Yeah.
And I go, but I never listened to the tape of what they as a foursome originally recorded, but it seems
I don't think it was the wrong choice. Like, no, I do, like, ethically, like, obviously, I've had situations in my experience where I've had band members that have wanted to do similar things, like, oh, this just isn't up to the what I had in my head, and so let's just replace that or whatever, and that rubs me wrong, like when I'm in that situation, for sure. But I think this is a perfect album.
I do too.
Yeah.
And like I said, I never heard the tape of all 4 of them.
Yeah.
But they're not slouches.
No.
As musicians.
No.
Like, it couldn't have been that not up to snuff.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so I bring that up to my buddy Matt, and he goes, sometimes they can be a hard band to be a fan of.
Yeah.
And I go,
100%.
Whoa, interesting. So you agree.
Yeah.
How do you distill Billy to somebody that has no idea about the Smashing Pumpkins?
I think Billy, arguably, has some genius in him, but with that comes a bit of hubris, right? Like, I think he's mellowed quite a bit now in his older age and having children and things like that. I think I don't see him being as divisive as he used to be. He's very opinionated, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, Billy, like, why'd you say that, or why? And yeah, I've had to have times as a fan where I'm like, okay, separate the art from the person. Like, luckily not to the extent of some people who have been super problematic,
right.
And, but yeah, I mean, it's not a choice that I would recommend doing if you're in a band and you really care about the other people.
Yeah,
that you're
that perhaps is the crazy part, is that they, air quotes, survived. Like,
right.
they weathered the storm. But I mean, that to first learn that had to be
Right.
like, yeah, I mean, you said rubbed you the wrong way. I'd be like, well, you did what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I will leave out all names, but there was a project I was in a long time ago that I was not the main writer for that project, and what the friend that was like, hey, here's a new mix, and I knew it wasn't me that he had overdubbed, but it was another person in the band that I could tell that's not how they play, and I was like, I mentioned it. I was like, hey, dude,
Did he own it?
yeah,
And
but
did he tell the other person?
that's where it got like,
Sideways a little?
yeah, because I was just like, do they know? And they're like, not yet, but this is just what I hear, and I don't think they can produce that. Like, this is what was in my head, and this is what I want, and I don't think they could do this particular thing. And I was like, it actually caused eventual disbanding of that band, but then later we came back together.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's not an advisable thing to do by any means. Like, I was like, hey, that's our friend. Either you tell this person that it's just not working and you let them go, or you live with the limitations of what they can do. Yeah.
You called it a perfect record.
I do think so. Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but I want you to put your imagination cap on, and this record is going to come out in 10 months, and you're the producer, and the label has just come to you and said, funds have dried up. We can't do 13 tracks, 62 minutes. We need you to cut it to 10.
Ooh.
What 3 are you cutting?
Oh, shoot. I got to cut 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Oh, now you're putting me to it. Okay, I'm definitely going to say we cut Sweet Sweet.
Okay.
Just because of the it's already a short song anyway. It's very cool, but I think it would still be the same album without it, mostly. Oh, no, that I gotta pick 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Okay.
I mean, you've talked about investing in the track sequence, and it flows together, and the final product is a thing. And
okay, as much as it hurts, I'm gonna say maybe Rocket Goes.
Okay.
It's still a great track, but I definitely am not getting rid of Hummer. Hummer has this sublime bridge, and that's a thing that I think that is undersold on Billy Corgan's writing. Like, the bridges he can come up with are just so beautiful. Like, it can be like this, again, like this roaring song up until the bridge, and then you get to the bridge, and it's like this, you're transported to like this little land where, it's so whimsical, and I don't know. But yeah, I can't get rid of Hummer. Mayonnaise might be one of my all-time favorite songs, period.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm planning on getting a mayonnaise-themed tattoo at some point.
Okay. I see that you do have some ink already. Do you have a favorite spot, or do you mix it up?
Mostly just trying to stick to the arms.
No. We're the place where you go to get.
Yeah. Yeah, Exile Tattoo on 39th.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been really happy with their work. Nathan, if anybody's interested in looking for a tattoo artist, does a great job.
Cool.
So, Mayonnaise is not going anywhere. Luna's the best way to end the album, in my opinion. So that stays. It's gonna kill me because I've even covered this song a couple of times. maybe Space Boy goes.
Okay. Well, there you said, and now
Yeah.
that was for pretend.
Yeah.
It's not. We're just
Okay.
just a silly exercise. And I appreciate you playing along.
Yeah. Something that I used to read, like I was so obsessed with the Pumpkins at the time that I would read any kind of press that I could find about them. And I read one thing that still sticks to me today when I am recording. It was an article with Butch Vig about producing Siamese Dream specifically, and he got into how he did mic placement on the guitar cabs, and what he did, which I still find like I'll do this still if I'm allowed to when I go into the studio, if it, like the whoever's the producer or whatever lets me do it. You turn up you don't put anything through it. You just hear the hiss, but you turn up the amp almost all the way, like to 10.
To 11.
Yeah. To 11. This one goes to 11. Yeah, and you just slowly scan the mic through the field of the speakers, and you wait for like the least amount of hiss. Like wait where when you hear nothing, you place the mic there, and then like I thought, whoa, that's like so. Why didn't I think of that? But that it's
simple,
it's
but
also
not.
genius. Yeah. So
Nice.
I this album, yeah, just in so many ways.
Now,
Yeah.
Singles comes out,
Yeah.
the soundtrack, and Drown is on
Yeah.
it. But Drown is nowhere else. It never made it onto an EP,
No.
right?
It's such a great song.
I mean, it's like medicinal, dark, but bright.
Yeah.
And Rhinoceros is that on Gish?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've got Gish, sort of this one-off with Drown being on that soundtrack. Siamese Dream. I bought Melancholy,
Yeah.
but I didn't. It was never part of the rotation enough to where I knew
Sure.
it top to back. And then just like happened with a million other artists and a million other avenues of life, I just drifted from the Pumpkins. Have you stayed on board all the way through this thing that came out 2 years ago?
There was a brief time where I was out, and that was like when they came out after Machina and said, we're broken up. And so, yeah, I believe Corgan did some things like Zwan that I didn't really, to this day, I still haven't gone and listened to, but I have my friend Logan Park, who is in From Me, and we've mentioned him a couple times. Hi, Logan. Mm-hmm. He's probably the only other guy I know that's a bigger Pumpkins fan than me, and he stayed on like through Zwan and everything. To this day, I still haven't gone and listened to the full album of Zwan. It's actually, if the physical album is hard to find.
Oh wow, okay.
But yeah, I think it was maybe 2012 when, or maybe a little earlier, when he started to release things again under the Pumpkin moniker, but he was the only
original
Pumpkin.
Okay.
But I started listening again. There was an album called Oceania that people sleep on because I think a lot of people in the beginning, before the original members returned, minus Darcy, the bassist, for different reasons, she didn't return, but everybody else has. But Oceania is just, if I had to, and I don't often do this, but if I had to put like the hierarchy of albums, obviously Gish is up there. Siamese Dream is probably top for me, but Gish maybe is 2, and Melancholy is huge as it was, is maybe 3. I'd maybe put Oceania right underneath Melancholy.
Okay.
It's really solid, and so then I was like, okay, I'm back in. Like, and then I've been steadily along since then, and was very excited when the original members rejoined. I don't think And I don't think you have to. I don't think maybe they've ever caught lightning in a bottle the way they did then, but it's still really compelling, really good
I'm glad
music.
you said that.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Matrix?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Neo takes the blue whatever pill, and then they find him, and he's on the table with, I don't know, dozens and dozens of acupuncture needles, right? And it's like 1993. The Smashing Pumpkins and their sound were, without question, one of those needles in my body, and I had a lot, but there's only so many spots, right? And so eventually, like, it gets taken out and something else is put in its place.
Sure.
But you have a nostalgia for the fact that it was once there. Like,
Sure.
What a sound.
Yeah.
And just cool and new and inventive. And
Unlike
you kind of
anything
go,
I'd heard at that
you
point.
kind of go,
Yeah.
man, I'm a little sad that I didn't stay on board. You know, obviously I can go back at any point and like become a student of their full catalog.
Sure.
But it's never going to be the same as if I'm like, the new one's out and I got it on Tuesday when it dropped and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's, they're definitely a big, you know, needle in that. I'm grateful that I was, you know, the age I was when that was coming out.
Right.
And, it was just so fun. 2 years after it, Radiohead gives us the Bends.
Yeah.
This is 2 of 9, 12 tracks, 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Art rock, alternative rock out of Abingdon, Oxfordshire, England. This one's made a list or two, and it seems to me that along with OK Computer and In Rainbows are the, again, air quotes, top 3 from their rather brief catalog.
Yeah.
If you're forced to make a top 3, are OK Computer and In Rainbows joining the Bends for you, and why how does the Bends initially land in your lap?
100%. Those two, OK Computer and In Rainbows, are definitely. It was hard for me to choose. Yes and no. It was hard for me to choose the Bends. The reason I choose the Bends is, so Pablo Honey came out and everybody heard Creep.
Yeah.
Like, and no shade to Creep. It almost broke the band up. I don't know if you know anything about that, but
the only thing I can tell you about Creep is that, in my opinion, holds up.
It does.
It's still a banger.
It does. Yeah, for sure.
I did not know that about the band doing that to the band.
I read an autobiography because I'm a dork. But apparently, so it got to the point that there was so much buzz around that song that they would go out to play in support of Pablo Honey, and as soon as they would play Creep, the audience would demand that they play it again.
Ugh.
And they were like, yeah, no, that's not what we're doing.
Good for them.
And they would get like things thrown at them.
Shit.
And, yeah.
Wow.
So after that tour, they were nearly like, we're out. I bought Pablo Honey when it came out. And it was one of those albums that like, oh, Anyone Can Play Guitar. That's a great track. Oh, you know, Stop Listening. Stop Whispering. I mean, that's a great track. But as far as like all the way through, it didn't grab me. You know what I mean? There were times where they would, but it didn't hold the whole time, which is fine. Very nice debut album. Radiohead puts out the Bends. I hear Fake Plastic Trees on the radio first.
Before High and Dry?
I think so.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Sure.
In St. Louis, they were playing Fake Plastic Trees a lot. And I was like, okay, I really dig this song. They were supporting REM on that tour.
Wow.
It was the Monster Tour.
Okay.
They come through St. Louis. I buy a ticket because I'm also an REM fan. But I was like, okay, like Fake Plastic Trees is a great song. I haven't heard the whole album yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Oh my God. When they came out on stage and played mostly from the Bends, I was like, oh, what am I seeing? Like,
This is not creep.
I was like, this is something else. This is amazing. This immediately, and I was with my longtime best friend Sean, who was in the first band I was in together in high school, and we were both like, it was an outdoor amphitheater, much like Starlight here.
Okay.
I think it was the Muni in St. Louis, if you're familiar with that. But even at that time, right, REM had been out forever, so most of the crowd was much older than we were. There wasn't a lot of, high schoolers in the crowd. And we are both like standing up like through their set, like, oh my God, this is amazing. Almost everybody else around us was sitting down because they're just waiting for REM. And I was like,
you guys hearing this?
Right. I'm like, what? Like, why are you guys like, this is like the most amazing shit. So, yeah. And then pretty much from then on, I've been on board with Radiohead. However, I will say that with a caveat because, and this is something I love, like, the bands, and even to an extent, some of the other stuff in the Pumpkins category, right? I love when a band will stretch me. You get like to a comfortable moment where you're like, I know who Radiohead is, right? And then they're like, no, you don't. So a lot of people, the Bends was like that after, like they were fans of Pablo Honey. The Bends comes out and they're like, what is this? Then it goes even further, like with OK Computer. Like,
oh my God. I found a OK Computer and I was like,
yeah.
And then the next, I was like, what?
Arguably, you could make the argument that OK Computer is their Dark Side of the Moon, is their best album, right? This, for me, and just the time that it hit me, that's why I chose this one. But you can make a very solid argument that OK Computer is their best. But yeah, same. Like when I was full in until Kid A drops.
I was like, guys, what are we doing?
Right.
What is this?
Right. And almost to the point where like I actively didn't like it at first and I had to set it aside for months and then come back to it and then be like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Like, but it was that shock of like, where'd all the guitars go? Like, what, but like,
I had a buddy.
Yeah.
Really? That's not try that. And he gave me Eraser.
Yeah.
And I was like, also, what are we doing here? This is not, I need the sequel to OK Computer.
Yeah. No, but I love that.
Which is silly, of course,
no,
right?
It is.
Now, you said, I read an autobiography because I'm a dork,
yeah.
Which I go, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm also a dork. But then you said I'm an REM fan and didn't say I'm a dork after that. To where I want to go. Take that. No. REM, what a trip. They, so many, they got this stamp as like the renegade, like college band that really gave it a go and made it and did all this wild shit for years. And then all of a sudden, bam, the Losing My Religion record.
Out of Time, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Just when it's like, God damn, really?
Right.
Okay. Is Radiohead done? It's been 10 years now, almost, right?
Good question. They have started touring again overseas.
Okay.
Fingers crossed they might have another one. I don't know. It's always been like whenever they feel like it, which again I respect.
Yeah.
Like that's very cool.
1998 Fashion Focus.
Yeah.
Starflyer 59. Let's see here. 4 of 18, including one from last year for them. This one's 12 tracks, 43 minutes, labeled as alternative rock. There was a Christian rock thrown in there.
Yeah.
And then shoegaze too.
Yeah.
This is a podcast first for this outfit out of Riverside, California. Never heard of these guys before.
Oh,
Tell me all there is to know.
Okay. So I was aware of them before this album, but and had some of their albums before this one, but when this one hit, like they solidified for me. Like I was like, okay, I'm in for whatever you do from here on out, pretty much. So they came out on a Christian label, yes, and that's probably how I initially, given the background that I told you about, that's how I found them. But they've never been like they've always for me been like a art first, and it's just we are Christians who make art. You know, it wasn't ever like a preachy like
Jesus isn't under every corner of every
right
rug. Yeah,
right. I can only think of maybe 2 songs in their 2 or 3 in their whole category that even like reference, you know, Jesus or the spirituality sometimes, sure, but
religion.
Like right. So very much, I would put them like if you're a fan of shoegaze at all, I would look into their catalog.
This was a delight,
right?
I thoroughly, and it was one of these deals where and this is seldom the case doing first listens for this show. I multiple times like I have no idea where we are in the record. Like normally I'm like, all right, track 2, track 3, but this was, you know, oh shit, we're only on song 3, or oh my god, there's only 2 songs left, or whatever the case may be. And the final one was, I believe, the second to last track. Is that Too Much Fun?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Is phenomenal.
Right.
And then the last track, I was like, after that, how do you?
Right.
Anyway.
For sure.
And you know, I don't have a whole lot of shoegaze in my listening experience. Really, the only thing I can confidently speak to is Loveless, My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, okay.
But I thought this was super fun.
Yeah, so this is for them is where they I say them, but it's really mostly the work of Jason Martin.
Okay.
He'll bring in people on different records, but he mostly, as far as recording, does much of it himself, which blows my mind. Prior to this record, it was more in the Too Much Fun vein.
Oh,
like
really?
Most everything was like really layered, crunchy guitars, like a lot of that. And this is the first one where you get almost like, I put it in my head, I put it in there with like a OK Computer type of thing where like
it's got great flow to it.
You get a little bit of so many genres. You get a bit of like, so they're from Southern California, so you obviously get that kind of California swagger every now and then too, but you're getting like some 60s vibes. I don't know. It's, for me, this one just did it. And in college I had a roommate named John who didn't mind them, but freaking hated Fell in Love at 22, the 4th track.
Because?
I don't know why.
Huh.
He never gave an explanation. Maybe I just played the album too much.
Right.
And
that's always what's on when he's walking through the room. This guy only has one record.
Right.
Calls himself a vinyl connoisseur.
But yeah, that, for whatever reason, I just remembered John always being like, Starflyer, okay, but don't play Fell in Love at 22. I don't know if like maybe I just really connected with that and played it on a loop.
Funny.
I don't know, but it's I don't even know where to start. Like jumping in with I Drive a Lot, like it immediately grabbed me. Like I don't know if that's how you felt too. And so he's never been able to, you know, quite an underground following, honestly. Like a lot of people are aware of, even beyond the Christian realm, who Starflyer is, but has never made enough to like full scale, like go on huge tours and things like that. And so I Drive a Lot. The funny part about that is at the time he was actually driving big rigs, like driving 18-wheelers.
Nice.
Well, yeah, to make ends meet, to keep on doing records. So, yeah. They're still putting stuff out that I think is maybe. I don't feel like he ever hit like a lull, but recapturing some of like the vibrancy, I guess, that you hear on the earlier records. He's working now. His son is now old enough to be doing music. Has his own outfit called the Rocky Valentines, which is very much influenced by the sound of his dad, but maybe a little more. So there's another. His Jason Martin has a brother named Ronnie Martin, who also was big into Joy Electric. Have you ever heard of them? Okay, it wasn't within the Christian realms, but it was all synth, analog synth, like very, and they also like broke out as far as like got some underground non-Christian traction kind of thing. But yeah, so two totally opposite kind of spectrums there, but Jason's son has kind of made his own project that almost like brings the sensibilities of both, like I guess growing up around both of them. He also Jason and Ronnie, his brother, did one album together that they went under the moniker Brothers Martin.
Okay.
That I think they should be contractually obligated to do one at least every 5 years, because it was so good. Because you had like all the like electronic stuff, but then you had the shoegaze element, and they would take turns singing. And I would recommend checking that out too. But definitely this album is top 5 for me for sure.
Nice. Low Level Owl Volume 1 and 2, the Appleseed Cast, 2011.
Yeah.
This is record 3 and 4 out of 9 for them, packaged into one release. Another podcast first for this Midwest emo indie rock outfit out of LFK that you mentioned earlier. Why does Low Level Owl Volume 1 and 2 earn the cleanup spot for Brian Hurtgen?
Prior to this album, they were, I guess this goes back to my liking artists that stretch them, not only themselves, but use the listener. Because prior to this, it was very much like post-punk, early emo, I won't say like balls to the wall, but like, a lot, wall of sound. And still to this day, if I go to one of their shows, which I try to anytime that I can, they're one of the loudest bands that I've ever seen live. Like they just wall of sound is not just a suggestion to them. Like, but this one, like they explored soundscapes that they never had before. Like they never had brought keys into the mix until this album and things like that. And so there's something about the flow of it as well. So I will admit, much like probably Melancholy is, just because of the volume of it, sometimes to do one straight listen through is a lot. But I feel like they did a really good job of, I love to when a band can like segue straight from one track to another track seamlessly. And I feel like there's a lot of that going on here, that it keeps you engaged. It did me anyway. And then I also love the aspect that like there are instrumental tracks in between tracks with lyrics, and going back and forth between that. I don't know why that appeals to me so much, but
well, I think generally speaking, the instrumental track it gets a lone appearance on a track, wherever it might be in the sequence, a lone appearance on a record that is otherwise fully lyrical, or the whole album is instrumental.
Right.
And this is, neither. It's in the middle of
Right.
those. Perhaps not unlike the two brothers and the son that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, and of the instrumental tracks on this one, there's like almost a vibe that bridges them in a similar, but they're not like repetitive,
Right.
or they're each of the instrumental tracks is unique.
Right. Yeah, I like that a lot. I also like doing interesting things too. Oh, we can talk about this. Yes. So, drum wise, being a drummer, listening to this album, there are things that I never thought to try before. Like on the second track, On Reflection, it's big, grandiose. There's not a lot of drums at the beginning, but the snare comes in like da 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 da, and then they put delay onto it, so it's da 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 da. Like, and I was like, oh, like I never thought about doing that before, or trying that, and then just interesting things that finding out, like again at this time there wasn't as much press to read as like with the Pumpkins, when I was deep into them, but I would get a hold of what I could find on like reviews and things like that, and somebody, the guy who played drums for them then is not the same guy now. He's left.
Their list of past members is huge.
Yeah.
It's amazing they're still, because they've also moved. People have, they're from Lawrence, but I don't think that's the whole story. It's, California, and somebody went so and such place, and so on and so forth.
Right. So the guy, he went by Cobra, their drummer on this album. He did 3 albums with him, I think. But the thing that I found really cool about his approach to things, when I read a interview with him, he was talking about how when they were specifically, I think even for this album, when he was thinking about his contribution, his drum parts, what he did first was like removed all the cymbals. Okay, what am I going to do just with the drums? And then he reversed that. He's like, okay, if I were to approach this song and all I had were cymbals, what would I do there? And then finally, like, bring the whole kit back together, which I thought was like, I would never think about doing that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what a way to approach. And you can almost hear like he's doing like these rhythmic things on the cymbals a lot of times that I'm like, oh, I can see that now that you say that, because, and that really honestly began to influence, like, I haven't done that actually. I haven't removed like the cymbals and done the reverse, but hearing how he approaches things, like using all the different parts of the cymbal, like, he uses the bell, he uses the side, he uses the top, like, just to get all these different soundscapes out of a cymbal. And when I don't know, I would just play around with that at my house too, like, oh, he's, doing a lot with that, but like not overly, like it's all fitting that vibe.
Cool.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons this is in my top 5 for sure.
I mentioned that they were records 3 and 4 for them.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about why I saw they played a show, or they had a tour where they were like, we're going to do volume 1 and volume 2 in their entirety at this.
I was there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But was this a release already when that happened, or?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think it was just because of the sheer volume of it. They released it. It was always on vinyl as one thing, but I think they spread out. Deep Elm, the small label that they were on at the time, released it, volume 1 on CD, waited like maybe 3-6 months, I can't remember, and then released volume 2 on CD, and then after that released it all as one on vinyl. I think it was just because of the sheer volume. Maybe.
So is it like more than 2 records, the vinyl release?
Oh yeah,
Like 4?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think 3,
Okay.
if I'm remembering correctly.
Huh.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, it was a great list. It was a really fun listen. I appreciate you putting the time and energy into it.
Yeah.
Got a series of goofy questions for you.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll wrap and get you out of here. The first is you're given the opportunity to have a cup of coffee with anyone of your choosing, dead or alive. Who's going to be and why?
Ooh, I think immediately jumped into my head. Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Vietnamese Buddhist monk.
Oh.
That in my adulthood, I still, I don't know how much in the weeds we want to get with this, but I'm a very spiritual person still. I still don't completely divorce myself from the things I had learned in Christianity or the teachings of Christ. There's things that I still very much resonate with. However, there are a lot of things that I feel like are man-made BS that have, and especially like with the last 10, 15 years, people taking up and twisting and using it for domination and empire instead of what I feel it was likely meant to be, right? But I ran into a Catholic author who was very more on a universalist bent, and his name was Richard Rohr, and he was talking like quoting Thich Nhat Hanh, this Buddhist monk, like through his writings, and I was like, wait, you can do that? Like like that's okay? Like it was almost like somebody giving me permission to be like, step outside and see another point of view. And I would not call myself a Buddhist either, but I definitely have that appreciation. I read so many. He wrote a ton of books, like just about, and it's very practical in the subjects.
When did he live?
He only passed 3-4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
He was, I think, into his 90s when he passed. Yeah, he the one I'm reading actually right now is called The Art of Communication, and it's just any kind of communication between lovers, friends, workers, co-workers, whatever. Like he touches, it's very practical, but like, I don't know, the way that he takes like these high concepts but puts it into normal speak, like it resonates with me. So nice. I think it'd be really cool to sit down with him and have a coffee or tea.
Sure.
Yeah. So
if we can pretend or imagine that we all have a personal and a professional bucket list.
Yeah.
You're given all of the necessary resources to go knock out number 1 on each of those lists. What are those number 1s?
Professional, definitely. And I know Dane spoke to this as well, and it's probably the cliche answer, but I don't care. I've been told up and down, just like he said as well, that like people that I know who have gone on tour are like, man, it's not what it's cracked up to be. It's not all that. And I'm like, I get that. I still want to do it. I want to feel it for myself,
Sure.
see it for myself.
Sure. What do you think the minimum number of cities or gigs would be necessary to scratch that itch for you?
I'm not even like, it doesn't have to be like it's got to be a 25 city tour, let's go out for 2 weeks, like, and just hit as many places as we can in 2 weeks. Like, and I'd be like, okay, scratch that off the list. Like, I'm pretty practical where that comes.
Cool.
I almost had the, I mentioned that I dropped out of college for a moment there. I ended up, and maybe if I'm ever on again, we can go deeper into this story because it takes a while, but I ended up kind of falling into a tryout with a band that was based in Philadelphia that was going to have a record contract already in line and was going to be on tour with a band called Further Seems Forever, which I don't know if you're familiar with. They're like, they also came out of the Christian scene, but they broke out of, like, left that, but kept on going. Well, Chris Graba from Dashboard Confessional was originally in that band as well. So, at the time, like, that was huge for me. I was like, oh, these guys are like some of my favorites, and we're going to be on tour with them. I landed the spot, but then before I could move out there, the band broke up. And so, like, that's always been like a gnawing, like, I was so close to doing like my bucket list thing when I was in college, and like, no regrets. I'm glad how everything played out. Like, things wouldn't have happened in my personal life, like having my daughter had I gone that route. So, like, it's cool. Like, I don't want to like rewind and like, change the time frame or the timeline. But yeah, if I could, I would like to at least get the experience of touring for sure. Personal. That takes a bit more thought. I want to grow the record store to be a thing that I don't have to work at for it anymore, and I can just do something that I love. So bucket list, I could do that, pour into it, and pay the bills from that. Yeah.
You paused just long enough after grow that my brain goes, is he going to say marijuana? I don't know why, but
I do partake. Yeah,
so, good.
Yeah.
This one, we're not interested in changing Brian Hurtgen. This is not a thing that's cloaked in regret.
Yeah.
But you're given the opportunity to visit your past self at any age of your choosing. What age are you choosing, and what are you saying?
I think I'm going to go to my college self.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell him two different things. I'm going to say, even though it's a lot of workload, continue in your music education degree. Admittedly, I think in my youth, I wanted to do well in that department, but I wanted to do the band thing and really pour into that, and I tried to do both, and it was just too much. And so then I ended up picking a different major. Still kept like some core music classes so that I can continue learning, but although I have done in the past where I've done one-on-one teaching, I don't think I would do well like in a room of 100 kids, like as a band director or whatever, which was initially what I was thinking. So I knew that wasn't the route for me, but I wish I would have stuck with it and found a different way to carve out, like, because there were, being somebody who started as a drummer, you didn't get a lot of that music theory, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I wish that I would have stuck it out and really dug in and done that side of things, because I think it would definitely, help me grow as a musician even now. And I'd also say, just open your mind a bit more, like, which happened, but I wish it maybe would have happened a bit earlier.
Okay.
Just
sure.
You see this very narrow scope of things, but the world is so much more than that. And I don't know that you can, well, obviously you can't force that, but I mean, that's probably what I would tell myself, though, that, like, you think you know so much right now, but you don't.
I love that answer, and particularly it probably comes for everybody at different times, and maybe it doesn't come ever for some. But learning when something is too much is really valuable, because we all come across a person in real life or social media where you're like, when do you sleep? Like this, and they're anomalies. They really are. For the most of us, our plate has a capacity on it, and we all try to put a little, and then something falls off over it, and it's like, because it's too much, and that's fine. Like, learning that and accepting that can be perhaps more beneficial than whatever the too much you're trying to do is in the first place. So.
Right. My partner would argue that I still haven't fully learned that lesson. She's like, really? We're going to do another thing? Like when we were talking about me starting Creepy Jingles, she's like, really? Another band? But she's fully on board now. But
That's
she's a bit, skeptical. Like, how are we going to balance all this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're aware that at one point in time there was a television program called Fear Factor?
Yeah.
Where you win the challenge by tolerating the
Joe
gross.
Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. This is not that. This is real life.
Okay.
You got to get from point A to point B, but in the middle is your biggest source of fear or anxiety or whatever is the most daunting of that category, but you got to get past it. What is it?
Death.
For real? I mean,
For real.
Zero hesitation
For real.
there.
No, yeah.
Are we talking anxiety when you drive, germaphobe, all the above?
I don't think there's probably a day that it doesn't cross my mind.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to get very anxious to the point of panic attacks and stuff like that through meditation and yoga and therapy, much less now. But yeah, it's just the fact that it's so unknown. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but would you want to know?
No.
Yeah, right. You're just fucked either way.
Yeah, and it's not even just like the existential things. It's like, what's the pain going to be like? Like, I'm sure not most people don't go in their sleep, I don't know. It bothers me, but I try to be in the moment because I've learned that or am learning, it's a process.
Yeah, of course.
But, really, if you think about it, the past can inform us of things, but it can be a good teacher, but you can never go back and change the past. The future isn't even actually a thing. So we have now, and it's always now.
Yeah.
And so let's be here now. And that's what that's how I try to do. And that's really helped that a lot. But yeah.
Do you think, have you subconsciously arrived at a theory that it's rooted in X or X and Y or, I mean, we all wear a different flavor of it, right?
Sure.
But like I said, no hesitation, level of conviction when you said it, which leads me to the conclusion that it's a larger flag for you. Yeah. So is there a thing? Or?
I think the more I understand myself, like I can see it in the art that I make. I can see it in the bands that I love. It's like this longing, right? Or this sense of like, how would I put it? Like an incompletion, and it can be a hopeful incompletion, but it's, just the push and pull of like, what is and what isn't, what we know and what we don't know. And I think maybe if I had to boil it down, probably like if it gets down to where it stems from, probably, even though I had like my sister, she was old enough that we weren't close. We are starting to get close now. And in my neighborhood, there wasn't a lot of kids my age. It was either older kids or much younger kids. So I spent a lot of time just kind of alone in my room.
Man, loneliness is intoxicating.
Yeah.
Really.
And I think it's maybe like the desire to be seen, to be known. Do you know what I mean? And then like if
might not happen until after you're gone.
Right.
You gotta roll with that, right?
Right. Right, but I think maybe if I were honest with myself, that's probably where a lot of it stems from. That like, yeah, like, definitely once that happens, you're not seen, you're not known. So like, how do you, like.
One of the reasons that I used to get off on 152 in Liberty was to go to my therapist.
Yeah. Okay.
And she said something to me one time. If I take my whole clientele, past, current, huge majority, like 90, high 90s%, like whatever, she was big on narrative, whatever the narrative is that you're telling about who you are, and why you are where you are, and all of the things, if you start peeling layers away and strip it all down, almost every single person to a T, the biggest thing is they're afraid to die alone. Yeah. And I was like I was I was listening.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying the lady, and it's a far drive to get there.
Yeah.
So I'm listening, but I was like, wait, what? No, that can't be. And she goes, I mean, you want to do it on you? Like, you want to think about it for a minute? And I was like, I suppose so. Yeah. Both of those things suck. Having them happen simultaneously would be pretty crummy. But I mean, boy, oh boy, where I go for the purposes of this conversation is what's the name of the Vietnamese Buddhist monk?
Oh, Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thich Nhat Hanh makes it into his 90s. Yeah. Look at the impact.
Yeah.
That's enough, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you were and are a good dad. You got somebody that loves you right now. Yeah. I mean,
but as you were saying that, I immediately thought of, there's a song that I wrote off of. It was in between Holiday at Sea. It was in between I wrote an album called Joy, and then the new EP. So I released it as a single. I thought about revamping it, like re-recording it for putting it onto the EP, but everybody else was like, dude, we only have limited time that we're available. Let's just leave it as a single. Okay, fine. But it's called Abhinivesha, which is Sanskrit word for the fear of death. And
yeah. You have some ink on your body about this too?
No.
Not at all related?
Not particularly.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry to.
No, you're good. Yeah, but the opening line, and I'll let the listener decide. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, I know I'm gonna die. Maybe not today, but in due time. I'm losing my shit about it. I don't want to be alone. Like, and so that's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. has a good bit about being an atheist.
Yeah.
And he's like, holy shit, is that a horrible thing to be wrong about? It's like, because, see, and then all of a sudden you're at the pearly gates and you're like, oh, fuck, with the beard and everything? All right, yeah, I'm going.
Right.
You better be wrong about that.
No, I kind of wanted it to be like, as the listener, I wanted to think, is he saying Jesus Christ is a curse, or is he actually talking to Jesus?
I was immediately curious about that.
No, and I think it's both, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last but not least, please complete this for me.
Sure.
The world would immediately become a better place in which to live, if only
empathy
existed, was more widespread.
Feels like right now existed, but no, I think more. If that was more in the frontal lobe of every, I think that's the place you would want it to be, right? Yeah, of most people, like including myself. Like I'm pointing the finger back at me, but again, like
I'm a huge language nerd.
Yeah.
Arriving at I've had a list of words that I've carried around with me my entire life where I'm
Sure.
like, I've looked this up 117 times, but
Yeah.
my confidence in how to spell it has never increased. And I'll look it up and be like, I mean, I've always been right, but I still every time look it up.
Yeah.
Arriving at a spot where I feel like, all right, I have a solid understanding of the difference between sympathy and empathy.
Right.
And I felt like I had arrived, and sympathy is like, my son is very emotional when it comes to televised sports and seeing those that don't win. Like last night, we were watching Game 7 of Montreal Canadiens, Buffalo Sabres.
Nice.
Goes to overtime. Canadians score a goal, and the camera, several times comes back to the goaltender. And he's taking his mask off and he's like throwing it down the hallway.
Yeah.
And you can tell every time he turns around, he's putting 110% into keeping those tears at bay.
Right.
My boy was like, I feel so bad for him. It's always the case when we view sports together.
Right.
Sympathy is like, yeah, I feel sorry for you because, you lost a loved one.
Right.
Or you lost the game or whatever. But empathy means what?
To me, it's my understanding is like sympathy is like, oh, I feel sorry for you. Empathy is more like, I am you. You know what I mean? Like,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Well
Yeah.
said. Well said. And like the struggle, like we all have somewhere the ability to say that and feel that and believe that.
Yeah.
What gets in the way is what you look like.
Sure.
Or what you believe in, or
Yeah.
what you stand for, or a thing that you did to where you go, I could never because of
Yeah.
whatever the, right?
Being someone who's like deconstructed of a lot of like dogma and things like that from my religious past, right? Like, and like I said, I've still kept the framework of that. I haven't totally jettisoned everything, right? The things that make sense to me are still dear to me, but I have to catch myself even now, like sometimes seeing like even family members that are still in where I have stepped out. And, the tendency is to be like, how can you be that stupid? Or how can it always like, I got to be like, dude, that was you. You were that. So how can you get, yes, it is sometimes very frustrating, sometimes infuriating even.
Yeah.
But you can't like revisionist history yourself out of that.
No.
That was you. Like,
Yeah.
and
And
so,
because of, the nature of who brought you into this world.
right.
Just as the same was true for those two people. And those, and,
Right.
and so the people that you're looking at, like they are who they are because of,
Right.
so
Centuries of things handed down to them that they had no say
Yeah.
in, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that doesn't mean that you still aren't responsible for what you are actively doing, right? Or, there's still, you have to own like, oh, I was being a piece of crap there, or that was definitely racist, or but at the same time, right? Just to know that like there's so many things stacked against each one of us that like layers to pull off like an onion, you know, like, and that it's especially like my sister and I, like I said, we've gotten closer because I see her starting to like pull some of those threads like slowly, and sometimes you want to be like, just yank that sucker, go, but like you have to realize like, dude, this was like a decades long process for you too.
Yeah.
So like, and nobody is on the same time schedule on the path. Like, so.
Yeah, and she, maybe your decade is 5 years for her, and she skips past a bunch of chapters where you had to dwell longer. You just can't know.
And that's also not saying that I am the arbiter of that either. You know, like I'm not like hurry up and get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
No, like go further.
Yeah.
Like go. Yeah, just go. Like, yeah.
Man, this has been fun. I appreciate you being so willing to entertain goofy things like bucket lists and cutting tracks from a perfect record and so on and so forth. At Wax Music 79 on Instagram, Major Matt Mason USA, Creepy Jingles, Holiday at Sea by BYE American. There's stuff on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, iHeart Radio. Other plugs?
I do have a few like solo songs also on those same platforms that it didn't fit into like they're more like folky oriented. They didn't fit into a
cool.
Yeah. So there's
if one searches Brian Hurtgen,
Yep.
they would find him there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, just under my name, Brian. And then I luckily through knowing the people at Turn Soul, they do like small releases of actual books, and I Hail Married it, didn't think that they'd actually like it, but I submitted a transcript for a book of poetry and they pressed it. I don't know how many are left, but Turn Soul Books in the Crossroads, if you're looking for that, it's called Mindfulness While Manufacturing. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that was another bucket list thing. That
Nice.
One day I'd like to have my own poetry book, and there you go. So,
is there anything that you had hoped that we would cover that we did not?
No, it's been a lot of fun.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate the time. It's very nice to meet you, and hope to talk to you soon.
Same. That was a lot of fun.